Hello, welcome to Ambassador's Corner here on TVI World. I'm Rahmat Idris. Indonesia and Iran have both enjoyed such long and harmonious bilateral relations dating back all the way since the 1950s. Well, can you guess where I am? Looking at these beautiful Arabic/Persian wall ornaments. Yep, that's it. I'm right here at the residence of the Iran's ambassadors to Indonesia, and we'll be speaking to His Excellency Muhammad Azad to get to know him more intimately, more personally. And more importantly, we'll figure out the current state of bilateral relations between the two countries and ways to improve it moving forward. So come join me inside. Hello, Mr. Amir. I'm Rahmat Idris from TVI World. We're here to interview Mr. Azad. Thank you very much.
This is Idris, our host from TVI World.
Yeah. Mr. Ambassador,
how are you?
Assalamu alaikum.
Nice to meet
Thank you very much. Very nice to meet you.
How do you do?
Thank you, Mr. Amir.
Thank you.
Iran is a mountainous, arid, and ethnically diverse country of southwestern Asia. The country maintains a rich and distinctive cultural and social continuity since a very long time. In recent decades, it has become known for its unique brand of Islamic Republic. Geographically, much of Iran consists of a central desert plateau, which is ringed on all sides by lofty mountain ranges that afford access to the interior through high passes. Iran is bordered to the north by Turkmenistan, Azerbaijan, Armenia, the Caspian Sea, Afghanistan and Pakistan to the east, the Gulf of Oman and the Arabian Gulf to the south, and by Turkey and Iraq to the west. The capital is Tehran, a sprawling jumbled metropolis at the southern foot of the Elbrus Mountains. Tehran and several other cities in Iran combine modern buildings with important landmarks from the past and serve as major centers of education, culture, and commerce. In political aspect, Iran became an Islamic republic in 1979, when the monarchy was overthrown and clerics assumed political control under Ayatollah Khomeini. Iran was one of the greatest empires of the ancient world and has long maintained a distinct cultural identity by retaining its own language. The current supreme leader is Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. The supreme leader is the highest power in the country and appoints the heads of the judiciary, military, and media. In terms of bilateral relations, Iran and Indonesia have maintained close relations. Indonesia's President Joko Widodo visited Tehran on December 14, 2016 as a reciprocal visit by the Iranian president in April 2015. Consular consultation meeting in 2023 with Iran as the host. Iran and Indonesia are now still seeking to further explore the potential cooperation as the ties between the two countries has been growing stronger since the establishment of diplomatic bilateral.
Thank you for welcoming us to this gorgeous, this beautiful residence of yours. This is quite an honor for us to be here. And thank you for your time.
No, it's a great pleasure to have your team and you in my residence, and I'm ready to answer your questions if there is.
We have a lot to ask, Mr. Ambassador.
Please.
So, Your Excellency Muhammad Azad, we've been very curious because we know that Indonesia and Iran have started such harmonious relations dating back all the way to the 1950s. We've had a long history of bilateral relations. At this point in time, Your Excellency, how do you perceive the current state of bilateral relations between our countries?
As I see the history of relation between Iran and Indonesia, which is going back to centuries of relations. It's not just from 1950.
Way before that.
Yeah, which demonstrate the diplomatic relation that we have had it. And we have started our relation with this building too. That is belong to Iranian government, and so this building shows that the deep relation between, of course, in diplomatic one between Iran and Indonesia, very friendly and brotherly relation that we have had it.
As a matter of fact, I saw the marking at the front that the first stone was set in 1926 or something.
Of course.
Yeah, so that's way to go before our independence.
The age of this building is 90 years old.
All right.
But for the relations, we have bought this building, and it, based on the diplomatic relation, it is 73 years old of diplomatic relations. And before you coming, I was reading a book about the history.
Kafilah Budaya.
Yeah, the title of this book is Kafilah Budaya, which referring to the history of relations in economic, political, and cultural relation between Iran and Indonesia. And this book has written by Al-Marhum Dr. Iqbal, a Pakistani lecturer in UIN Sharif Hidayatullah, and in his dissertation, which was in Persian, of course, and defended in Tehran University with good number, he has referred to the history of language, culture, and he has found a lot of similarities.
Language and culture between Indonesia and Iran. Right.
And may I suggest this book that has translated, of course, the gist of that dissertation of PhD has translated in this book, in the Indonesian language.
So we have all the essence of the similarity, the gist of it, as you mentioned. Mr. Ambassador, you also said that our bilateral relations goes decades now, meaning that we've come to a point where this is quite a harmonious and sustainable relations. At this point in time, Mr. Ambassador, what do you think are some of the main focus of these relations, be it trades, economy, or politics? What are the focuses now to nurture these relations?
Of course, in history, we can see in the trajectory of economic relation, when you're referring to Nahuda, Shahbandar, Gandom, Badam, Kurma, Kismis, it's all Persian.
Those are Indonesian,
Persian
those are commodities in
vocabularies.
Vocabulary.
And now you are coming through the ships to Bandara, and also, coming these stuffs to Indonesia through centuries. When we refer to the economic activities between the two countries, we can see that this model of cooperation has continued and is coming to the exchange of big delegations in economic and trade relations, and approximately we can see the statistics of the relation. It's the question of billions of dollars of trade.
So we look at the numbers. These are great numbers between our countries.
Step by step, it has continued, and I have witnessed such this progress from the first time that I was posted during Bapak Suharto.
Right.
It was just 90 million, and coming to the second time is coming to 100 millions, and then nowadays it's a question of billions.
And now it's an upward trend. That's the most important thing. Another matter that's currently ongoing in our country is that this year, throughout 2023, Mr. Ambassador, Indonesia assumes the chairmanship of ASEAN on the heels of the very successful G20 presidency just last year. So for the chairmanship of ASEAN this year, how do you expect our chairmanship will go, and how will Iran contribute in it?
In my region, in West Asia, we have ECO, Economic Cooperation Organization.
Right.
Approximately 450 million people with 3.5 trillion dollar of trade, which we have such a this big organization in my region, Iran, Middle East, West Asia.
Yeah.
When I compare it with ASEAN here in Southeast Asia, with 650, if I'm not wrong, millions of people.
Yes.
And 3.5 trillion of dollar.
Yeah, big economies here in the region.
Big economies here, big economies there. And as you say, the centrality of ASEAN, epicentrum of progress.
Yeah.
I think the role of Indonesia as a leader of the ASEAN for the 2023, one of the areas that we can really must pay attention to that is the centrality of ASEAN and also ECO.
Yeah.
In the level of institutional connection and relation between these two organizations is suggested by me. And of course, Indonesia is a big economy and country in the Southeast Asia, and later in 2045 will be the fourth.
So what will be the core cooperations between these two big entities in the time coming, do you see, between organizations Middle East and ASEAN? If you can give us the highlights.
Yeah, as we see, ECO and ASEAN matters, and it's better to go for epicentrum of progress.
Right.
It means one hand, in Iran we say one hand doesn't have any sound, but two hands surely
they make a clap, and that can echo
and
around
have
the globe.
a good sound.
Yeah.
So through this cooperation in trade and economy, exchange of different models of progress, you know, we can have it. It's just in field of economy and trade. But maybe I can suggest that in your case in Indonesia in 2023, sensitive one is Myanmar.
Yeah, that's a big homework for us.
In West Asia, we have Afghanistan.
Yeah.
So
the military junta.
How you can manage, Indonesia can manage with the assistance of the 9 other members of ASEAN countries.
Yeah.
How you can handle that? ASEAN ways, new models of negotiation. So if you can solve this problem here, it's a good model that we can have it for Afghanistan. The same problem, and the question is here in Myanmar to have inclusive government. In Afghanistan to have inclusive government.
Yes.
And out of that it will be recognition, and so there will be stability, peace and
prosperity. Yeah. And upholding democracy for the people, and that's the core of it. You mentioned a couple of times, Mr. Ambassador, that would like to bring forth the idea of epicentrum of progress. And as a matter of fact, epicentrum of growth in ASEAN centrality is actually the main theme of our chairmanship. Do you think that at some point Iran will assume ASEAN as one of its most significant partners? Because in ASEAN now we have ASEAN +3, China, Korea and Japan, dialogue partners, we have strategic partners, we have comprehensive strategic partners. Will Iran assume such a position in the time coming, do you see it?
The new government in Iran, 13th government, headed by Ayatollah Raisi, the first priority is of course neighbors. But the second one is Asia, East Asia, because it's they say 21st century is the century of Asia. And the role of Indonesia, especially in Southeast Asia, and also the other countries, China in East Asia, is very important. In this regard, our attention is to have a big deal with in economic and trade with ASEAN and also East Asia. So it is very important. The second priority in Iranian government outlook, and surely at the level of ASEAN, of course, you know, I am ambassador accredited to ASEAN. Surely we would like to have it more activities,
more engagement too within the region.
We have all embassy in Southeast Asia, ambassadors there, so we can have coming to the sectoral and dialogue partner. We do hope so.
All right.
Inshallah, later we will have.
That's a great future ahead that we expect it to be. As I mentioned at the beginning, Mr. Ambassador, is that this is such a gorgeous, such a beautiful ambassador's residence. If you don't mind, would you be so kind to take me around, maybe to the garden? We'd like to have a look and we'll get to know more about you.
Yes, I am at your disposal.
All right, so we'll be back right here on Ambassador's Corners with more conversations with His Excellency Muhammad Azad. We'll be right back. Your Excellency, here we are in your green and beautiful garden. In the first segment, we've spoken about the bilateral relations and the ASEAN chairmanship. Now, we'd like to get to know you a little better. Your Excellency, tell us a little bit about yourself, your previous postings overseas, and your diplomatic career before Indonesia.
Yeah. It is approximately 35 years that I am giving service to the government of the Islamic Republic of Iran, and my first posting was, of course, after graduating from the faculty of the International Relations affiliated to the Foreign Ministry.
Wow.
I have come to Foreign Ministry and start my work. I started my first mission in Indonesia.
In Indonesia,
Yes.
So that's 35 years. That's quite a stretch of times. How many countries previously before Indonesia, if you remember, Your Excellency?
It's just two, Indonesia and Malaysia.
Indonesia and Malaysia. So quite similar culture there. Your family is here with you in the country?
Yes, of course.
So how many daughters and sons do you have, if you may know?
I have two daughters and they have married, and I have now 3 grandchildren.
Oh, that sounds very lovely.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. So your tenure here as an ambassador in Indonesia, Your Excellency, I'm sure that you've taken a liking to a number of things. Tell us some of the favorite things that you found here in the country.
From which point of view?
Cuisine, probably?
Yeah, of course, nasi goreng is very famous.
For our audience out there, nasi goreng is fried rice in English.
And satay, of course.
Yes.
And also Indonesian coffee, cappuccino by the trademark of Torabika. There's a lot in Iranian market, and it's a question of millions of trade.
I see.
About coffee, and yeah.
So you're a coffee connoisseur, if I may say, and Indonesia indeed has a wide range of coffee selections from the east to the west. Your Excellency, let's talk about one of the biggest attractions of our country, tourism destinations. And I'm sure as an ambassador, you've been to many places in the country. What are some of your most favorite spots for holidays in Indonesia?
In Indonesia, we have 3 symbols of the religion in Indonesia. Masjid Istiqlal is a symbol of Islam.
Yes.
And also the church in front of Masjid Istiqlal is the question of Christianity. And for Hindu and Buddha, of course, Prambanan, I have been there.
All the temples.
Borobudur,
lovely, gorgeous sites, that's right.
In Borobudur also I have been there. I have visited those symbols of the religion in Indonesia. And of course, I have been also in the Serambi Mecca, which is to Aceh.
All the way to the western part.
When we have delegations, so I remember for the first time that I was
an ambassador here in the country.
No, as a cultural attaché.
As a cultural attaché, that's way before being an ambassador.
34 years ago, 1989.
34 years ago, oh my goodness.
So we have had a delegation, documentary delegation, so they have coming from Aceh to Surabaya, and we have visited different cities.
It must have been quite a journey there, a large country. One thing that I've been wanting to ask you, Mr. Ambassador, is your marvelous football team from Iran. And we have our own football team. So do you think that we'll be able, someday in the future, we'll be able to make the same strides, same achievements as those of your team? What do you think of our sports here in the country?
Of course, sometimes we have had two Iranian football team, and when they come to your stadium,
Yeah.
you win.
Okay.
You have won.
Is that in honor of the host? Because
No,
we're in our
maybe
country.
the weather, you know.
Maybe the
is
weather,
very-
and a lot of people in the crowds cheering for the local team. Right. Another thing, Your Excellency, is the fact that Indonesia is one of the most Muslim populated countries in the world. Iran too, for that matter. We share a lot of similarities. From your perspective, what are some of the most significant similarities that you found after your tenure here in Indonesia between our country and yours?
Really, this point can be some evidences that I can raise. You know, the point of title of the ulamas that you are using here. You say Kiai Haji, for example, Maruf
For our
Amin,
Imam.
who is my neighbor, and he's over there. He's a resident of Kiai Haji Maruf Amin, Vice President.
The Vice President. Yeah.
The title of Kiai, you know, is the title of ulamas in Tabaristan in Iran.
Okay.
So it's very
They use the same
interesting.
title too in your
Yeah.
country.
And also it's the title of Kiai Imam Ghazali. Imam Ghazali is Iranian, you know. So he's also the Imam of Tasawwuf or Irfan in Indonesia.
Yeah.
In the field of religion, it's one of the evidence that I can refer to it. And for other points, you know, we can see in the field of governance, for example, for the palace, you say Istana. It is
Yes.
Astana.
Astana is also in Iran.
And
So Farsi language, some words are similar to ours.
yeah, more than 400.
More than 400 words.
Yeah, I have
I
found
need to
it.
learn
and-
them all. And so,
And for example, for parliament, you say Dewan. In Iran, we say Divan.
there's a lot of similarities
it's
there. But in terms of cultures, traditions, and the habits, the characters of the people, do you find some sort of veins of similarities as well, Your Excellency?
Of course, in the field of religion, in Bengkulu and Pariaman, you have the Upacara Tabut.
That's in Sumatra.
Yeah,
The island of
Sumatra.
Sumatra.
So it is the same ceremonies that we have it in Ashura, in
Okay.
1st of Muharram up to 10 of Muharram. We have this, program in Iran. It's the same program in Iran and Indonesia too.
Right.
It looks, it shows, the deep relation between Iran and Indonesia.
Yeah. The deep-rooted
Through the centuries.
culture.
Yeah.
So I guess at some point I have to be in Tehran or something just to sort of discover what you've explained to us
Yeah,
and
inshallah.
find all of these similarities. So I cannot wait to learn more about Iranian cultures and yourself in the next segment, Your Excellency. Let's just go explore other parts of your residence.
Inshallah. Thank you.
Oh, Mr. Ambassador,
Yeah.
thank you very much for taking me out to the beautiful gardens. We've learned so much about you. In the meantime, welcome back to Ambassador's Corners. I'm still here with the Iranian ambassador to Indonesia, His Excellency Muhammad Azad. Your Excellency, I'd like to know more about Iran now. We've heard about your favorite things in our country. Now, I'd like to know your favorite things in Iran, the cuisine, for example. What's some of the most special dish in Iran?
The most famous dish when we have a ceremony, a guest of honor, or even though in usual one, the relatives coming and we prepare cholo kebab.
Cholo kebab.
Cholo is referring to rice and kebab is meat. The way that we prepare those things is like satay that you are making.
Yeah, I'm familiar with the word kebab, but probably not the one that I had in mind. It's something else in Iran.
The difference between satay and kebab is with
With the long metal stick, not mistaken,
metal stick,
with the meat
yeah.
on it, like a skewer.
That's right. And satay is with kind of small wood
Yes,
that you are using.
like
and,
our satay here.
Yeah.
That sounds very delicious, Your Excellency.
And if you have a very special guest, we will have it a big one that we call it kebab sultan.
Kebab Sultan.
Sultan is
So
referring
that's
to the
the
king.
extravagant version,
Yeah,
the
king.
royal version of the regular kebab.
And also we offer as a beverages like this that you can test it.
Oh, okay. Please, please tell me what the drink is, Your Excellency.
Of course,
I'm
it is
very curious.
water with honey
Honey,
and
okay.
also saffron.
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 Yeah, that's one of the most expensive, luxurious commodities. from
Yeah, in Iran we
around.
say it's very expensive in comparison with the gold. And also gold is yellow and this one is red. We
Right.
call it red gold. And
Yeah.
in some special part of Iran, in Khorasan, we have it and it's very expensive. And it, of course, from the hygienic point of view, is very useful and we are using
Yeah.
this. and-
All the health benefits contained
Surely,
within it.
surely.
So, for lack of a better word, I can say that this is the most expensive drink I've ever had in my life. As you said, more expensive than gold.
Yeah.
I can't wait to have a taste.
Would you please taste it?
Let's do it together, Your
See
Excellency.
what's-
Bismillah. Oh, wow. This is delicious, Your Excellency. So we have the honey, obviously, and the saffron. Tell us a little bit about this commodity, because we know that Iran is famous for that particular commodities, and in particular, its trade relations deriving from Iran to other parts of the globe.
Yeah, one of the main export of Iranian companies to abroad is agriculture products. So it is the same that we can see here in Indonesia is kurma,
Yeah.
kismis, or kishmish in Iran we say, and khurma in Iran we say.
Raisins, is that in English?
Yeah, raisin. And also we have pistachio.
Pistachios.
Pistachio is
That's also
the
world
greatest
famous
one. Yeah, yeah.
from the from that
Iran.
particular regions. Talking about commodities and other things from Iran, other notable commodities, prominent ones indeed from your country, are music and cinemas. Your films have made the shortlist of the Academy Awards for Best International Feature Films for many times now. What more can you tell us about this?
I should say that we are on the milieu of the 44th of the victory of the Islamic Revolution of Iran and establishment of the Islamic Republic of Iran. During the 44 years, we have seen a big change because before the revolution,
We
and
call it revolution when you say big change.
yeah, Islamic Revolution of Iran, 1979. So the question of films industry was just paying attention to the selling tickets, and they didn't come to the serious points of
Yeah.
the social issues.
Yeah.
But after the revolution and establishment of the Islamic Republic of Iran, we are coming and we are encountering a kind of new industry in film
Yeah.
that I can say it is serious film.
Yeah.
Serious
The
is
approach to
referring.
productions has also shifted.
Yeah, the point is that they are going to raise the social issues, social problems,
Yeah.
social privileges, and
Yeah.
you know, both of them to give to the audience.
That's right.
It's a kind of education and also criticizing the society.
And a deeper insight to the lives, the integrity of the lives in Iran, a separation, for example. And when you mention revolution, Your Excellency, I cannot help but mention the fact that in terms of technology, Iran has also making such a revolutions, significant strides. Iran is among top leaders, world leaders in nanotechnology, and we also have trades in medical technologies. So what do you think are the major contributions to the change of technological landscape in your country?
Yeah, when you say revolution is something, a big change. Before that, regime of Shah of Iran, you know, they were just the police of the region and supported by the superpowers, and They are just coming to the dictation of orders from other countries, super powers of the time.
Yeah.
But after the revolution, we have made a new system of government, and then we just come to the point, to the slogan of neither east nor west.
Neither east nor west.
It
so
means
no dependence there.
very good. The same policy that you have chosen in Indonesia. We didn't go for east and west, but we have had our independent foreign policies inside, and because of that, so in different areas, we have tried to be independent. Even though there was 8 years of imposed war,
Yeah.
at the beginning of the revolution, that all borders was open, and
Yeah.
you know, it was not.
Yeah. Goodbye all of the embargoes and the sanctions, you still managed to
So-
establish robust economy.
That's right. Out of that, we have come to the domestic, independent defense industry
Wow.
that you can see in the, for example, in missiles, in defense industry,
Yeah.
different things. We have come to the independent industry, and it's referring to the nuclear one.
Yeah.
You know, we have had it ours, and also we are coming to nano and biotechnology.
Exactly, I mentioned earlier.
That,
well, these advancements of technologies, Your Excellency, we further improve the relations, particularly the two nations, ours, our and yours.
We are in nano and bio in the rank of 4.
Exactly.
And especially, we didn't stop and to have a kind of, you know, to say that this technology is for us. No. For example, we are
It's for
coming...
humankind?
Humankind. And because of good relation that we have with Indonesia, we are mentioning that we are going to be at the level of transfer of this technology.
Okay, transfer of knowledge, transfer of technology, that's in the plan.
So, for example, in nanotechnology, we are working closely with Indonesia, and we have tele-robotic surgery instrument.
Tele-robotic surgery.
Yeah,
That sounds awesome, really is.
So we have it in Iran, so we have working with Indonesia, and these two tele-robotic surgery is now in Bandung and Jogja.
Already being implemented as we speak now.
Yeah, it's going to be at the last step.
So that's in medical
But we have
sector.
educated by the person in charge, the surgeons of Indonesia, and then inshallah it will be operated because of your need. And it's not just going to have what do we call it, inclusive technology. No,
Yeah.
it's going to have, you know, for all mankind, as you were mentioning.
That is a noble mission indeed, saying that no one should be left behind in terms of technological advancement. So especially if we consider ourselves as nations of brotherhood, so
Sure,
that's truly says something. Your Ambassador, here we are at this point in time with a long history in the background of Indonesia and Iran. How do you see moving forward, we continue to improve upon and build upon the relations between these two nations? What sort of missions do you still have in your hands to carry on in the future?
In the future, I think in different dimensions of relations, it can be political one, economic and cultural one. Based off this very deep background, we must work hard. As you say, sedikit bicara banyak kerja.
Sedikit bercara, banyak kerja. And I'm speaking Indonesian with an English accent. So less talk, more action.
Yeah, and I see that in different fields that I mentioned, we are working hard. As I said, in a sport, you know, we are exchanging of coaches of Iran in futsal, in, you know, wrestling, in arrow and bow, you know, we are You have archery. You have your Iranian coach, and also in, if I'm not wrong, Pencak Silat.
Pencak Silat.
We have
martial arts self-defense.
That's right.
Yeah.
So we have this cooperation with Iran. So it can be extended to other areas. That Alhamdulillah we have it, and as I said, we must work hard.
Right. And as you said, let's talk more actions and more things to see from those cooperations. Unfortunately, Your Excellency, we have run out of time. This is all the time that we have for the conversations, and I am honored to be here with you. Thank you very much for all of your insights and for opening our eyes on the bright future of Iran and Indonesia. Thank you very much again, Your Excellency. And that concludes our conversations right here on the Ambassador's Corner with His Excellency Muhammad Azad on the bright future coming for Indonesia and